Have you ever noticed how many people quietly hold a string of beads while they pray? You might see it in a church pew, hanging from a rearview mirror, or gently wrapped around someone's fingers during a quiet moment of reflection. For millions of people around the world, the Rosary is more than just a necklace of beads. It is a guide for prayer, a symbol of faith, and a companion during moments of hope, worry, and gratitude. But the Rosary did not simply appear one day in its familiar form. Its story stretches back through centuries of devotion, evolving little by little as people searched for simple ways to pray repeatedly without losing track. Along the way, monks, ordinary believers, and even entire communities helped shape what we now recognize as the Rosary. Some of the earliest versions looked quite different from the one many people hold today. So, where did the Rosary really come from? And how did a simple string of beads become one of the most recognized tools of prayer in the world? That is exactly what we are exploring today. At its core, a rosary is a tool that helps people pray in a calm and organized way. It usually consists of a loop of beads connected to a small chain and a cross or crucifix. Each bead represents a prayer, and as a person moves from bead to bead, they repeat certain prayers while reflecting on important moments in the life of Jesus and Mary. Think of it like a gentle rhythm for prayer. Instead of trying to remember how many times you have repeated a prayer, the beads quietly keep track for you. This idea might seem simple, but it is actually very helpful. Prayer often involves repetition, and counting those repetitions can be difficult without some kind of guide. The Rosary solves that problem. The beads act like a roadmap, guiding someone through a series of prayers step by step. For many people, this physical movement of the fingers across the beads also helps them focus. It slows the mind down and creates a peaceful pattern that makes prayer feel steady and comforting. But the idea of using beads for prayer did not start with the Rosary itself. It began much earlier. To understand where the Rosary came from, we need to go back nearly 1,000 years to a time when many people could not read. In medieval Europe, monks and priests would pray all 150 psalms from the Bible. These psalms were sacred songs and prayers, and reciting them was an important part of religious life. However, ordinary people often did not have books and could not read the psalms themselves, so they found a simpler way to participate. Instead of reciting all 150 psalms, many people began repeating a shorter prayer 150 times. The most common one was the Our Father, also known as the Lord's Prayer. To keep count, they used small stones, knots, and rope or strings of beads. These early prayer counters were sometimes called paternoster beads, named after the Latin words for the Our Father prayer. Over time, another prayer became popular: the Hail Mary. People began repeating the Hail Mary many times while reflecting on the life of Jesus and Mary. Gradually, these repeated prayers formed patterns. Those patterns slowly turned into what we now recognize as the Rosary. The word rosary itself comes from a Latin word meaning a crown of roses, symbolizing a spiritual offering of prayers. But the structure we know today developed over many centuries. One important moment happened in the 1200s. During this time, a Catholic preacher named Saint Dominic encouraged people to pray the Hail Mary while reflecting on key moments from the life of Jesus. These moments later became known as the mysteries of the Rosary. Each mystery represents an event, such as the birth of Jesus, his crucifixion, or his resurrection. By combining repeated prayers with reflection on these events, prayer became both structured and meaningful. Later in the 1400s, the Rosary became more organized into the familiar pattern of groups of 10 beads. These groups are called decades. Each decade includes 10 Hail Mary prayers followed by one Our Father prayer. This structure made it easy for people to pray in a clear sequence without confusion. Eventually, the Rosary spread widely throughout Europe and beyond. Churches promoted it, families prayed it together, and it became a deeply rooted tradition in many cultures. What started as simple prayer counters slowly became a shared devotional practice across the world. So how exactly is the Rosary used? The prayer begins at the crucifix. Here, the person usually makes the sign of the cross and says the Apostles' Creed, a short statement of Christian belief. Next comes a single large bead. On this bead, the Our Father prayer is said. Then there are 3 smaller beads. On these beads, 3 Hail Mary prayers are offered for faith, hope, and charity. After that comes another larger bead for another Our Father. Now, the main part of the Rosary begins. Each group of 10 small beads represents a decade. On each of these 10 beads, the Hail Mary prayer is repeated. Before each decade begins, the person announces or reflects on one mystery, such as the birth of Jesus or his resurrection. While praying the Hail Mary 10 times, the person quietly thinks about that event. After the 10 Hail Mary prayers, another Our Father is said on the next large bead, and the pattern continues. In total, a traditional rosary includes 5 decades. This means the Hail Mary prayer is said 50 times during a full rosary, along with several Our Fathers and other prayers. The beads guide the entire process, helping the person move step by step through prayer and reflection. In many ways, the rosary is both simple and deeply meaningful. It combines repetition, meditation, and quiet focus. The rosary may look like a simple string of beads, but its history tells a much deeper story. It began with early believers searching for a practical way to keep track of repeated prayers. Over time, those simple counting tools grew into a structured form of devotion that millions of people now practice around the world. Through centuries of change, the purpose has remained the same: to help people slow down, reflect, and pray with intention. Each bead marks a small moment of prayer, and together those moments create a quiet rhythm that has lasted for generations. From humble beginnings, with stones and knots and rope, the rosary became one of the most recognizable symbols of Christian devotional, from a very simple idea of using beads to guide the human heart in prayer. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.